Mediation. How Hugh John Mungo Grant settled his wildest dispute. What happens when Britain's most charming stammerer swaps red carpets for courtrooms? How did a velvet-voiced rogue with a scandalous past become the unlikely nemesis of Rupert Murdoch's media empire? Why did Hugh Grant, Golden Globe winner, tabloid darling, and reluctant bachelor, risk millions to expose the dirty secrets of the press? This is not just a story of fame. It's a tale of phone hacking, burglary, and legal chess matches played with silk gloves and sharpened pens. It begins in a leafy London suburb with a boy named Hugh John Mungo Grant, born to a military man with a jawline carved by discipline, and a schoolteacher whose name belonged in a Jane Austen novel. Hugh John Mungo Grant was born on September 9, 1960, in Hammersmith, London, to Captain James Murray Grant, a decorated military man with a jawline carved by discipline, and Finvola Susan MacLean, a schoolteacher whose name sounded like a Jane Austen heroine. The Grants were a family of modest means but rich intellect. Hugh's lineage traced back to Scottish aristocracy and the famed historian James Grant, so you see, storytelling runs in his blood. Young Hugh was raised in Chiswick, a leafy suburb where he attended Latimer Upper School, excelling in cricket, Latin, and the art of charming his way out of detention. He later studied English literature at New College, read at Oxford, where he joined the Oxford University Dramatic Society and discovered that his stammer, when paired with a raised eyebrow, could melt hearts and win roles. Grant's cinematic breakthrough came in 1994 with 4 Weddings and a Funeral, where he played Charles, a bumbling romantic who made awkwardness fashionable. The film earned him a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and a permanent place in the hearts of romantics worldwide. But fame, dear Onovo, is a double-edged cravat. In 1995, Grant was arrested in Los Angeles with sex worker Divine Brown, an incident that turned his career into tabloid fodder overnight. He faced public shame, but handled it with British aplomb. "I did a bad thing," he told Jay Leno. And there you have it. He dated Elizabeth Hurley for 13 years, a relationship that was equal parts glamour and grit. Later came Jemima Khan, and eventually Anna Eberstein, a Swedish television producer whom he married in 2018. Together, they have 3 children, and Grant has 5 in total, proving that even the most reluctant bachelor can be domesticated. By the 2000s, Grant had grown weary of the press. The British tabloids, particularly those under Rupert Murdoch's newsgroup newspapers, NGN, had long feasted on his personal life. But when revelations of phone hacking emerged, journalists illegally accessing voicemails to scoop stories, Grant transformed from rom-com rogue to privacy crusader. He joined the Hacked Off campaign, alongside fellow victims like Steve Coogan, Charlotte Church, and Prince Harry, demanding justice and press reform. Grant's own suspicions ran deep. He believed his landline had been tapped, his medical records stolen, and his home bugged by private investigators hired by NGN. It was 2023, and Hugh Grant, now in his 60s but still possessing the smirk of a man who knows he's the cleverest in the room, filed a lawsuit against Newsgroup Newspapers, NGN, the publishing arm of Rupert Murdoch's empire and proud parent of The Sun. But this wasn't your average celebrity spat over a misquoted brunch menu. No, this was war. Grant alleged that NGN had engaged in phone hacking, not just the odd voicemail, but a systematic siphoning of private messages. Burglary, yes, actual breaking and entering, like something out of Ocean's 11, but with less Clooney and more scandal. Unlawful information gathering, hiring private investigators to dig through bins, tap landlines, and tail him like MI6 agents with a subscription to Heat magazine. He claimed that NGN's operatives had broken into his flat, intercepted private communications, and used the stolen intel to publish salacious stories, the kind that make your aunt clutch her pearls and your lawyer clutch his invoice pad. NGN, of course, denied everything. The Sun has never engaged in phone hacking, they insisted, with the kind of straight face only billion-dollar media conglomerates can afford. The case was set to go to trial in May 2024, and Grant was ready. Oh, was he ready? He wanted the truth aired in court. He wanted accountability. He wanted Rupert Murdoch's empire to squirm like a tabloid editor caught in a lie detector test. Behind him stood Gemma Durham, a solicitor known for her tenacity, tactical brilliance, and ability to cross-examine a witness so thoroughly they'd forget their own postcode. NGN's defense was led by Anthony Hudson KC, a barrister with a reputation for defending media giants and making inconvenient truths disappear like a magician with a press pass. The stakes? Monumental. Not just for Grant, but for press accountability in Britain. If he won, it would set a precedent. If he lost, it would cost him £10 million and possibly his reputation. Then came the twist. NGN made a Part 36 offer, a move so British, it practically came with a side of scones and a legal disclaimer. In UK civil litigation, a Part 36 offer is a strategic masterstroke. If the claimant refuses the offer and fails to win more at trial, they must pay both sides legal costs. In Grant's case, that could exceed £10 million, enough to buy a small castle or fund a rom-com about a man who sues a newspaper and falls in love with his barrister. The offer was made without prejudice, save as to costs, meaning it couldn't be used as evidence during trial. It was a legal trap wrapped in velvet, soft to the touch but deadly if mishandled. Grant was torn. Accepting the offer meant no trial, no public reckoning, and no cross-examination of tabloid editors, but rejecting it meant financial ruin. "I didn't want to accept this money or settle," Grant wrote on X, formerly Twitter, on April 17, 2024. "I would love to see all the allegations that they deny tested in court." But even Hugh Grant, with all his charm and cheek, knew when to fold. He accepted the offer. The case was stayed, a legal term meaning paused indefinitely, like a Netflix show that never gets renewed. NGN paid an enormous sum, but admitted no wrongdoing, no apology, no confession, just a check and a shrug. The truth, like so many things in British history, remained politely buried, tucked away between the Magna Carta and Prince Andrew's press releases. Behind the scenes, armies of paralegals, forensic analysts, and PR strategists had battled like knights in a legal Game of Thrones. The stakes weren't just personal, they were constitutional. This was about the freedom of the press versus the right to privacy, and Hugh Grant had become the reluctant face of the latter. Though the case ended in a mediation-style settlement, Grant's crusade left a mark. He remains a fierce advocate for privacy rights, a thorn in the side of tabloid journalism, and a hero to those who've had their bins rifled through by men with cameras and questionable ethics. His cinematic accolades include Golden Globe, 4 weddings and a funeral; BAFTA, Florence Foster Jenkins; Honorary César Award, France; Screen Actors Guild Award, The Undoing. Hugh Grant is no longer just the charming Brit in a rom-com. He's a father, a husband, a Golden Globe winner, and a privacy warrior. His journey from Chiswick to Crusader is a testament to resilience, wit, and the power of a well-timed eyebrow raise. But his greatest achievement, perhaps being the only man who can make self-deprecation sound like Shakespeare. "I'm just a bloke who got lucky," he once said, and then got hacked. So ends the tale of Hugh Grant versus the Sun. A battle fought with wit, principle, and a reluctant nod to financial reality. In the end, even the most charming man in Britain couldn't afford to gamble with £10 million. If you're loving this tale of charm, scandal, and British grit, don't just watch, become part of the story. Follow us, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell so you never miss a twist, a revelation, or a rogue with a cause. Next up,